It is August, what's the day today? 20th. I am in Tennessee with Wendy. If you would go ahead and share this a little bit. I'm here with Wendy, and there were about 20,000 of you who watched the video from last week. It's been passed around. Well, we had court this morning. If you'll recall, we were denied there was not a 72-hour hearing set after removal, and that's when I did the live video. I talked about the Amber Alert and how this was not a child that was in immediate threat of danger, and I was going to take them to Channel 5 News so that Channel 5 could interview this child and her mother and talk about what had happened to her in Smith County, DeKalb County. And just like I said I would do on the live video on Friday morning, I faxed a letter to the Administrative Office of the Courts, to the Governor's Office, to the DCS Legal Counsel, and to the Judge's Office after I tried to call the Judge's Office to get a 72-hour hearing. And first the Judge's Office wasn't going to give me a 72-hour hearing, so they said I had to work it out with DCS. So then by 10:30 I got a fax from the DCS attorney, had set a hearing for today, Monday, August the 20th. And so even though I had a pretty personally trying weekend, I said I am not going to let my client miss her hearing, her preliminary hearing. Don't look at me like that. and so I got up this morning. I'm an hour and a half away, got in my car, got down here to court, and we walked in the courtroom. I was prepared. I had my evidence ready. I had witnesses ready, and to talk about allegations that were placed against the mom, stating that she was involved in drug transactions and stuff, and we were ready to go. And her daughter had been removed from her on Thursday, and we wanted to have a hearing. And so what happened when we walked in the courtroom is DCS filed a motion to disqualify me as counsel because of the Facebook video. Wow. And then the judge reported that he had filed a board complaint on me, and he had called and talked to the Board of Judicial Conduct and the Board of Professional Responsibility, complaining that I had gone on Facebook. Now, I just want to remind everybody who watched that, I did not mention any names. No. I didn't say who my client was. I didn't say who the child was. I didn't say who the judge was. I didn't say who the DCS attorney was. No names. I just wanted everybody to know what's going down in the courts and the truth about what had happened. And so the judge then asked if we wanted him to recuse himself from the case. And so, sorry. I talked to my client, and I said, here's our deal. I'm just too afraid. There's too much personal involvement now with the judge, and it's just too close. He had admitted he had watched the video, and and there's a lot of things that have gone wrong. There's a lot of things that have happened wrong. I mean, this petition was filed, and against my client, they went and got an ex parte order right about the time I was calling and leaving a message for the DCS worker to say what is going on. She would not return my phone call. Her supervisor would not return my phone call. The regional office would not return my phone call. Nobody called me to tell me that they had taken a petition on her. They set a hearing for the next morning. Now this morning they say they didn't have a hearing, but they did take testimony.
And his lawyer was there.
Yeah. So the guardian ad litem was apparently there, and yet when I went on Wednesday to pick up a copy of what had been filed, there was no order saying that they didn't have a hearing or the case had been reset or what they had done. So all of that was kept a secret from us as well.
Took my rights.
Yep, just took all of our rights. It was all kept a secret. And
Not from everybody, just
yeah, secret from us, like
my dad.
Mom and her attorney and her dad, even though her dad had told him that he would take the daughter
That Tuesday morning.
on Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Right, before they even got an ex parte order, he offered to take her. So now they filed this motion to disqualify counsel, saying that they're going to put a warrant out for my arrest.
And fire my lawyer.
And they want to try to get rid of me. And they
Sure they
quote the Facebook video in here in this motion, which is kind of
Even though
interesting.
she's got a million cases, like I'm not the only one.
Right. It says, hang on here. It says, speaking of me, she spoke derogatively of the juvenile court and the Department of Children's Services. She verbally attacked the minor child, which I did not say anything bad about the minor child, except I did say there was a bad teenager involved in this who was dealing drugs. And she told the public to ignore Amber Alerts. And she told the public that the state is coming for your children.
They are.
Yeah.
Because I've got 2 friends. They probably coming to y'all too.
She quoted in there.
They already have some of them
Yeah.
at school.
They quoted in this that I said the judge isn't going to give me a 72-hour hearing. I'm going to let everybody know. Letter to the AOC, fax to the attorney's office, the judge's office, which I did. So I just was telling everybody what I was going to do, as opposed to them not telling us what they were going to do.
Sorry, they're stalking our 19,000 views of public video.
Right.
And using it against me.
And, that I'd made a comment that you shouldn't have hearings without service of process, and addressing that to the court. You should not have hearings without service of process, which is absolutely true. She quotes...
Can we say what judge? People are wanting to know who said this, Connie. Can we say names?
So we are not going to put names in this video. It's going to come out eventually. But they're trying to say that I have disclosed confidential juvenile court proceedings, which is only reason why I'm not telling names. Now, as all of you know who have been around for a while, I have done several news shows and named names of judges.
And I've been on one of them as well.
Right, and I've named judges and brought it out, and there's still going to be more to come about this. Right now, my previous video from just last Thursday has 20,000 hits. So go ahead and pass that around and share this.
Made them mad.
And I want you to know they're watching. So they'll be watching this one too. So I'm sure.
Hey.
Hello.
Thanks for laughing at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have the last laugh.
Yeah. And so the DCS worker was in court laughing while this was going on. She was laughing.
Everybody in the courtroom but my dad and Connie were laughing like this is a joke.
Yeah.
This is my daughter.
The judge didn't say anything about, being, not being respectful of the court process. The DCS attorney called me a liar, cut me off while I was talking.
Yeah.
And
devil's a liar.
Yeah. So it is, let me see what else they said. They said I've made myself a witness in a variety of ways, she says.
It's called confidential. She's my
Right.
attorney. She is not a witness. She is my attorney.
And it says that they will require Miss Reguli's testimony because Miss Reguli is the one who refused to accept service on behalf of her client. So here's what went down.
But she had to drive to go get it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm in Nashville, basically. This is DeKalb County, which is about 2 hours away from me, not quite.
We're in Carthage.
Yeah, but the court clerk, the court clerk is in Smithville, and I asked them to fax it to me. They told me they would. They didn't do it, didn't call me back and say, no, well, today I find out they called the judge. So then on Wednesday morning, I called, and they're like, well, we can't. There's somebody out there staring at us, watching us. But so we're in McDonald's, by the way. And so I'm sorry. So when I went to the clerk's office, they said, well, you have to file a notice of appearance. And so I hand wrote a notice of appearance. Well, today the DCS attorney is complaining because I didn't serve her with a notice of appearance. Well, how can I serve somebody with a notice of appearance if I don't have a copy of the petition when I am forced to fill out a notice of appearance? Hello?
We had to get an ink pen and write some stuff in crap they already filed.
And they say, I refuse to accept service. Well, I cannot accept service of anything in behalf of my client unless I have specific permission of a client. Okay, so this is all about secret courts, about the secret government workings, and how parents are just trampled in the system.
They will take your kids, and you won't even know it till they don't come home from school.
Yeah, and then they say that it's anticipated that there'll be felony charges against the attorney. Now, what I would like for you to do is talk to them about what happened, what the detective was saying to you when he picked you up and incarcerated you, and about how they were telling you how stupid your attorney was.
Well, first they asked me if I knew my rights. Yeah. Then they asked me. They interrogated me for about an hour and a half, 2 hours in shackles. They knew I couldn't record. They knew I had no phone. They said, does your attorney know you're here? They only allowed me one phone call. I called my dad so he could bond me out. I didn't get a chance to call Connie. And I don't know if they were recording or not, but they told me that, don't you think that your attorney's dumb, or I think he used the word foolish, for not turning you in at that time? Why did y'all leave? I said, mother's instinct.
Yeah, but tell him what he said about your daughter. How do you feel about your daughter?
Well, he said, how does it make you feel? And he tried to turn my daddy against me, one. Two, he said, how does it make you feel that your daughter had to ride in the back of a cop car until I ain't gonna say her name, the caseworker had to pick her up in Brentwood and take her 2 hours back home, which I have no idea where she is.
And here's the point. So would it have been...
I started bawling. There was no answer to that except just absolute, my heart just ripped.
Yeah, so I guess they think it's better.
And they told me how stupid and foolish she was. And she's not very, very smart. She's very smart. And she's a godly woman. And tried to make me think that she's stupid and for taking us. And I told him it was just mother's instinct. Well, don't you think your lawyer should have turned you in? Wasn't that the smart thing to do? Because if you had just turned yourself in, then you would still have your daughter. And how does it make you feel? She had to wait 2 hours at the police station and ride in the back of my 12-year-old in the back of a cop car to Brentwood Police Station, and then wait for the caseworker that she's scared to death of, by the way, and I guess got her to talk on the way home. 2-hour ride. And
yeah, and you know what though? They think it's better. They think it's easier if they just go to school and take your child. That would have been easier. Oh, that would have been so much easier on this poor child had they just gone to school, taken her, whisk her away, and not even told the mom about it.
I would have, if I hadn't have took her out of school, when I went to go pick her up Thursday, she wouldn't have been in the car line. It's plain and simple.
Right. So guilt-tripped parents do, and this detective, let me remind you about this detective. Last Friday, August the 10th, I had a phone conversation with him.
It's
and I'm going to post that phone conversation that I recorded with him when I said, you're not talking, because here's what he said. This is the truth about what he said. He said he had to tell my client something about her missing child. And I said, well, why can't you tell her on the phone? And he goes, no, I have to tell her in person. I said, well, you're not going to talk to my client without me present.
But my dad went up there and they wouldn't tell him either. And he said, because my son was a danger to me and my daughter because we both have disabilities.
Right.
And he's coming off drugs.
So they... So I said to him, okay, well, it was Friday. I said, well, then you won't talk to her without me present. And he goes, well, okay.
They did anyway.
They
got me.
Right. And so he disobeyed that. But I says, I'm 2 hours away from you. And he goes, well, I can't. He goes, I won't be here in 2 hours. He goes, I won't be here in 2 hours. Oh, my goodness, are you okay?
I'm okay. Sorry, y'all. God bless me.
He says, we won't be here in 2 hours. And I says, well, all right, then I'll contact you at the beginning of the week, and we'll make a time to get down there, because
This was on the 10th.
that was on the 10th. And I said to him before I hung up that phone call, is there anything emergent that I need to go over with my client over the weekend before we can do there? And he said no.
Right.
And then when she gets served, we find out he took the warrants out on my client
8:10.
and on the very same day.
If I would have went up there, I would have been arrested right
Very
then.
same day. So he was luring her up there to
By my
put her in
son.
jail by herself. He was luring her up there to put her in jail by herself. I'm going to say that one more time because it makes me so mad. He was luring her up there, and you know who you are, detective.
And
You
told me
know
if
who
I
you
would
are.
have come in on Friday, I would still have my daughter.
Which is a lie. So, the judge has recused himself.
She's in immediate danger if she's in a foster home with her brother, because her
Or-
brother came into the courtroom today and had to go put a cell phone back, and whoever the foster parents are, he's been calling my 20-year-old son, making death threats to him.
That's right.
And my 20-year-old is scared to death because he thinks that my 16-year-old, quote unquote, my 20-year-old said my son they got told him he was going to put a bullet and pay somebody $50 to put a bullet through his effing head. So whoever the foster parents are that DCS gave them to, he's got a phone and he's making death threats with it to my oldest child.
Right. Death threats.
And so
this
if
is a
Briella
kid.
is with him,
Yep.
she is in immediate danger. And y'all call DCS and call them and make sure that my daughter is not with her brother. Because if she is, he will tell her to say this or that, or he will beat the crap out of her. Trust me.
And they've not disclosed where she is.
No.
She was not in
But-
court this morning. She should have been in court this morning.
She has special needs, and they're demanding that I give them what she needs for her special needs. I'm not going to say what, but they're demanding I hand it over to them. I just told them they can go get what she needs with that big fat check that they're getting for taking care of my daughter.
Yeah. And then we also know, based upon what they filed, that the DCS worker quizzed her in the car on the way back about her
2-hour
mom.
ride.
Yep, quizzed her all about her mama and everything, and they want to put it in court pleadings, what she said, but they don't want to bring her to court to testify. You're going to bring her to court to testify, DCS, because you know what she's going to tell you? She's going to tell a court when she gets in front of a court that she was not an endangered child when you put that Amber Alert up on TBI.
And she will tell the truth, and she knows who was selling drugs, and it wasn't me.
Right. And
She
she's
knows
going to
what
tell
her brother
them
was doing.
she was not in harm's way when she was removed from her mother. Do you hear?
And she has, what, a 15% chance of being harmed where she's at right now, or not being harmed where she's
Right.
at right now.
Right.
A 15% chance that she's not being abused in a foster home.
And let me tell you, I saw her. She was scared to death to go to foster care. Scared to
I'll
death.
never forget her face when I saw her. And Briella, if you see this, I want you to know I love you in infinity, because that's the last thing that I signed her before they put me around the side of the car and handcuffed me and took me to jail for hitting my son, which I didn't. Didn't leave a mark on him.
Never hit him.
No, I got mad because I found stuff in his room that was illegal
Right.
after the cops had already searched it and took stuff. So
And parents, they're your children. They are your children. You have a right to talk about your children.
And it don't matter if you're poor, and it don't matter if you have money. No amount of my daddy's money saved her. And Connie's trying to save her.
And she even had an attorney. I've been her attorney for
Since
4
2014.
years. 4 years. Everybody knows it. It's all
But-
over the court records.
See, she hung up on her last time. She just decided this time she's not going to call her at all. Because I guess she's embarrassed, and I feel like Are you retaliating?
Oh yeah, and the
Because we embarrassed you
and
with
the
the video you hung up on because you don't know if you can talk to attorneys or not. When I have bills where every other DCS worker that's ever been around has charged me for phone calls to my attorney before I found this one, the best one.
Mm-hmm. And the guardian ad litem said she had talked to the father, but she wasn't going to talk to the mother because I was her attorney. We're not going to talk to the mother. So the guardian ad litem, who's supposed to protect the best interests of the children, is refusing to talk to the mother about her child's best interest and what her child's needs are. And they're sitting right there at the DCS table, right at council table with DCS, just chuckling away,
Yeah.
singing songs, laughing.
They were
It's not a
laughing
joke.
while I'm sitting here dying without my daughter. They were laughing. There's nothing funny about this. How can you sit there and laugh? And she was smiling at me and taunting me and antagonizing me like this is a game. This is my child. I don't know where she is. I don't know what she's eating, sleeping. She's 12 years old and she has special needs. And she is one special little girl. And she probably wants her mama. And I don't understand why my 16-year-old has a phone to make death threats, but my 12-year-old has not been on any social media or contacted any of her friends or contacted me, because if she could, she would.
And let's talk about this phone for a second, because he doesn't have his own phone. This is important to know.
Sure.
He does not have his own phone.
You don't
The
have a
cops
job.
have his phone.
The cops have his phone.
The cops
Yeah.
have his phone and
Child
put it in the
pornography.
evidence room. So DCS
Child pornography.
Yep.
That's why they have his phone.
DCS got the
With 18-year-old
16-year-old,
girlfriend.
put him in foster care and gave him a cell phone, and he's
Mm-hmm.
calling his 20-year-old brother making death threats. Okay, do you understand
And still
that?
talking to his girlfriend that got contributed to a minor.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
girlfriend, who's an adult, who's been contributing to this whole fiasco, who mom
This is
could-
what it's over. I kicked the girl out. He
Yep.
said, if you take the only thing I care about away from me, I will take the only thing you care about away from you, and I will put you in jail. And a 16-year-old has managed to manipulate DCS, the police department, and TBI. Wow, you let a gifted 16-year-old play y'all like a fiddle.
Yep.
And my daughter is just an innocent bystander in the middle of it. She does not deserve this.
Yep. And in the comments, I'm going to ask Mom if she'll post in the comments the picture of her son who's drugged out, laying in his room, full of drugs, that DCS doesn't seem to get. Doesn't seem to get
And
that
I
this
saw
is
the
a problem.
picture that everybody's talking about his black eye.
Yeah. It ain't.
When you're doing the drugs he was doing, just, you see this right here? Yeah, I look like I've been punched in the eye too.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the picture on the table.
Oh, yeah. Someone posted human trafficking.
If you're
Yeah, they made a comment in the
Human
motion to disqualify that I said that DCS is trafficking your children. That's one of the reasons they want me
how you
disqualified.
gonna fire my lawyer?
So you want to know why attorneys don't speak up for you parents? You want to know why? This is
Because you
why.
can go to jail.
Yeah, they want to put them in jail. They want to file board complaints. They try to embarrass them in the courtroom. DCS wants to get them off the case because they said something bad about DCS.
Well, she's mad because, she hung up on Connie because she
Yeah.
don't know how to do her job. But somebody that don't know how to talk on the phone took my child.
Yeah. So,
And my son should be in rehab.
and her son should be in rehab. He's in a foster home. He should be in rehab. Be forced
Because
in rehab.
he's making death threats and he's already said he's got connections in school and already dealing again.
Yeah. So y'all
From his brother.
I
That's
know.
what his brother said.
Yeah, I know it's early in the day. It's only about noon here, and a few of you are watching live. It's real important that we pass this around and share it.
Share.
They had 20,000. In just a few days, we had 20,000 views on the other one.
And that's why we had to get another judge, because the judge saw the video that she posted while I was in jail. Mm-hmm. That's what they're mad about.
Yeah,
Even though didn't say no names.
yeah,
It could have been any of her 1,000 million cases she has.
right. We have 11,000 members in Family Forward Project. If you're passing this around to people who are not part of that group, I'm going to state it here. Y'all need to become part of the Family Forward Project on Facebook. The Family Forward Foundation is a 501c3. It's getting its organization ready to go. I'm going to Washington, D.C. In September. I have a big event, a big program in Detroit in October. We've had events in at least 10 other states that it's time for this nonsense to be over. Parents need to be treated fairly. Families need to be supported and not manipulated and not taken advantage of, and no secret hearings, no secret whatever, pleadings, secret filings. Oh yeah, this.
My daughter got taken off of a 16-year-old drug addict.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
Exactly.
A 16-year-old drug addict and his 18-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
That was snorting cocaine on August 4th in video. The cops have it.
Yeah.
In the safe. But
and that's where we are. That's where we are now.
I got my daughter taken off of a 16-year-old that needs to be in rehab. It's word.
And
and the daddy tested positive for something too. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So now who's suffering? Mom and the 12-year-old girl. That's who's suffering.
I'm dying.
That's who's
without her.
suffering.
I don't know how people do it.
Has she ever been away from you besides visiting her dad?
4-H camp.
Yeah.
$300 4-H camp she goes to that my daddy pays for. No, she's never been away from me.
And I bet even then she talks to you, right?
She
Even
writes me letters from 4-H camp.
Yeah.
She's never been away from me for this long without talking to me. I can't do it. I've never been without talking to my daughter unless she's at 4-H camp. And they said no news is good news. And she writes me letters for 4-H camp. And other than that, I've never been away from her for this long with no communication whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I always know where my daughter is.
All right.
And
Okay.
I'm trying not to cry.
Yeah. We're going to shut down so this video's not too long, because if it gets too long, people won't watch it.
Share.
And we will keep you updated and post some more.
And please pray.
And
Bring
pray.
Briella home.
Yeah. And make some phone calls for us. We'll post some places where you need to make some phone calls.
Yeah. Bring Briella home, please.
All right. Love y'all. See ya.
Love you.